to Piers Heiko. I'm reporting to you from somewhere in our house. I'm starting a new project today, which is probably the biggest one that I've ever taken on. We're removing popcorn ceiling. We live in a house that was built in 1975, has 2,700 square feet of living space, and about 2,100 square feet have popcorn ceiling. It's ugly. But it's also dangerous because we found out that the popcorn ceiling that they used in 1975 contains 6% asbestos. I first reached out to a couple specialty companies that specialize in asbestos abatement, but then they gave me some quotes and really quickly realized that I cannot afford paying someone to remove it for me. They told me it's going to be about $20,000. So $20,000 is not going to happen. Federal law does not prevent a single person, a homeowner, to remove asbestos himself or herself. Only thing that you cannot do is hire anyone to help you. The only entity you could hire is a specialty contractor that is allowed and licensed to remove asbestos. You cannot hire, legally at least, a handyman to scrape it off for you. So I decided to take that on by myself. My wife's helping me prepping this whole thing, and then once we're done doing all the prep work, we're just going to scrape this popcorn ceiling with the most amount of precautions that I've ever seen. So we're going to encapsulate all the walls and the floor. What that means is all the walls behind me and the floor is going to be covered in 6 mil poly sheeting, actually 2 layers of it. Why 2 layers and why so thick? Yeah, you want to make sure that it's more or less airtight. You want to create an airtight capsule here in this room. We're going to do one room at a time. Those companies usually try to do the whole house at once. Usually it's pretty easy. If you buy a house and you find out there's asbestos in the house, you just do it before you move in, and then it's all move-in ready. We didn't know until just recently when I talked to a contractor friend of mine, and he told me, oh, 1975, your popcorn ceiling is definitely containing some asbestos. And yes, he was right. I got a test kit from Amazon and confirmed that. Yeah, we can't do the entire house. We can't move out for a week at a time. So we have to do one room at a time. Like I said, there's going to be encapsulation going on, plastic all the way up the wall, all the way to the ceiling. The floor is completely going to be covered, and all those plastic layers are going to be taped to each other and to the walls to make it as airtight as possible. We will also use a few pieces of special equipment to create a low pressure situation in whatever room we're working on. That equipment I'm going to show you here now next. Yeah, it's going to be a big undertaking. I hope it goes smoothly. We'll find out. Let me switch cameras around and then I'm going to show you some of the gear. Oh, before I forget. So I was talking about legalities. So federal law does not prevent a homeowner to remove popcorn ceiling, asbestos popcorn ceiling, or any asbestos for that matter. You have to look into your local regulations and laws. So the best point to start is going to your county and talk to the people in the building department. If you have to pull a permit, for example, a renovation or demolition permit. In our case here in Douglas County, Nevada, there is no such a thing. They told me, oh, we don't look at that, so just go for it. And then the next thing, you need to find out where to properly dispose of asbestos hazardous waste. And popcorn ceiling is considered friable. So what that means is the particles can get airborne because, you know, it's all individual little fibers in the popcorn ceiling. Once you scrape it off, it can all come airborne. So you want to declare that properly. You want to find a landfill that takes that stuff on, and what they usually do is dig a deep hole, you dump it in, and then they bury it to completely eliminate any chance that this stuff can get airborne again. So don't just take it to you know, your waste disposal facility and don't tell them about it. This stuff is hazardous waste, dangerous, can cause cancer and all kinds of other lung diseases. And, you know, me personally, I couldn't live with myself if I would cause someone else to get cancer later in life. For example, the guy working at the waste facility. So I found out where I can bring that. There's a local landfill here. It's going to be relatively expensive. I think they charge about $130 per ton. So it goes by weight. And I bought garbage bags that have labeling on them saying asbestos garbage and such things. So go find out what your local regulations are. So a lot of states have absolutely no limitations on it. Some states have some permits that you have to get. If you would be a company that does that, you would actually also have to notify the EPA. As a homeowner, you don't. So now I'm just going to show you some of the equipment that I'm going to use, and then as I work along, I won't be able to videotape while I'm scraping this off, but the process of popcorn sealing removal is pretty much the same as regular popcorn sealing. The only difference is that I'm going to be in full protection Tyvek suit with respirators and gloves and all that good stuff, and that I will cover floors and walls and tape them all shut, and also ventilate this room in a certain way, and I will show you that now. So now a quick overview over the gear that I'm going to be using. There's 6mm poly plastic sheeting that goes on the ground. There's some thinner plastic that I'm going to be using for the walls, since I'm not going to be walking on it. We have some lighting, because for the popcorn sealing removal, you want to remove all the light fixtures, and that's the smoke detector, and then also the registers for forced air heating. And I put a foam block in there in a plastic bag to kind of close it off. Then all the furniture is removed out of this room. All the shelves, all the pictures, everything is gone. And then let's go down the list here. So to tape the plastic to the wall, I'm going to be using duct tape, not just regular masking tape, because we're going to be spraying stuff here. It's going to get wet, and I don't want that stuff to fall off the wall in the middle of the process. You need a airless paint sprayer. This is a air scrubber with a HEPA filtration system, which is going to be used. So it's going to be here in the room while I'm working, while I'm scraping, running. And this here is the output port, blows air out after filtration. And there's going to be a poly-plastic duct going to one of the windows. Over there, we're going to make a little adapter plate, a little bit of plywood, and some a duct adapter to suck air out of this room through a HEPA filter out of this room. So this is an air scrubber, costs about $500. Yeah, big investment, but considering that I'm saving many thousands of dollars by doing it myself, I think I can afford one of those. This here's a Graco Magnum X5 airless. What this is going to be used for is for a specific after or post removal primer. So once I scraped off the ceiling, it's all cleaned off and there's no popcorn sealing left. There might still be a few asbestos fibers lingering on the ceiling. I will use a Fiber Set PM is the name of that product. I don't have the bucket up here yet, but Fiber Set PM is a post asbestos abatement primer in white that I'm going to be spraying against the ceiling to settle down all the leftover. Sorry, short interruption. So Fiber Set PM is a post removal abatement primer that settles down all the leftover little asbestos fibers. To wet down the popcorn ceiling before scraping, you want to get this moist. When popcorn ceiling is not painted, so this has never been painted. This is the original shape of the popcorn ceiling. If you get that wet, it becomes kind of like a goo, which is really easy to remove. For a normal non-asbestos popcorn ceiling, you can just use water or soapy water. In this case, I'm going to be using another asbestos removal specific product, which is a wetting agent. That's also made by Fiberset. I forgot the name. Maybe I'll take a picture of the bucket later and insert it here. So spraying down with this wetting agent, scraping off the popcorn ceiling. I bought myself a popcorn ceiling scraping knife with a long handle, and it has a little frame around it where you can hang a garbage bag on it. So the scraped off popcorn ceiling will fall right into a garbage bag instead of falling to the ground. And then I'm going to be doing some cleanup around the edges with probably a little putty knife and a dustpan. And that all will go into a big 40-gallon trash can that I will have sitting here in the middle of the room with those asbestos disposal plastic bags in it. And while I'm scraping, this vent is going to be running and filtering the air in here. And then once the popcorn ceiling is completely removed, I will use Fiberset PM, spray the entire ceiling, and they sell that in color blue, white, and clear. Blue, I don't know, probably so you can easily see which part of the ceiling you already covered. In my case, I just bought white. It's probably going to be easy enough to see which part I really covered. And then once that's done, and I'm sure that all the fibers have been settled on the ceiling, I will use a little bit of that primer and mist all the plastic here on the wall and on the floor. That also settles the fibers in those areas. And then I can take the first layer of plastic off. So there's going to be 2 layers of plastic on the wall, 2 layers on the ground. Once I've sprayed it with this post-removal primer, I will peel 1 plastic layer off, dispose it into a plastic bag, into a trash bag right here in the middle of the room. Once that's in there, I will also dispose of my personal protective equipment, my suit and my filters, and then this room is pretty much ready to go for texture and paint. I bought myself a texture sprayer as well, which is not up here right now, and I will texture my ceilings myself, and once that's dry, then paint. So pretty much the removal part ends once I have primer on the ceiling and the first layer of plastic peeled down. And then this room is relatively clean, and then we can start not freaking out anymore and start working on making the ceilings nice again. Yeah, so that's going to be the process. I will take little snippets here and there just to show you. There's one of my kids always making background noise when I'm trying to make some YouTube videos, but I guess that's what you have to put up with, right? All right, guys, I'll keep you posted. All right, guys, this is the second installment. We have put the first layer of 6 mil plastic sheeting on the ground, and it goes up all around about a foot off the ground, and then it's taped to the wall in certain sections just to hold it up. And then we installed 0.5 mil just painter's plastic all along the walls, seamless pretty much. I'm taping this completely all around with duct tape. It needs to be really stuck to the wall, airtight, and needs to support its own weight and all that. And since we have kind of a 2-room operation, this is a closet here. So I kind of cut this open and then overlapped the plastic layers with each other. So the closet in here is the same deal. You would get a duct tape seam above, and at the bottom we taped the wall plastic to the floor, also seamless all the way around. And once we have this first layer completed, so once this first layer is completely sealed all around, top and bottom, the door, you can see there's an opening. Once I go in here with all the machinery and start scraping, I'm going to close that off as well. So this is more or less airtight. Then we're going to install a second layer, start with the floor again, a foot up the wall, and then a second layer of the wall covering, and that layer is going to be the one that's exposed to all the popcorn ceiling coming down. Like I mentioned, I'm going to use a contraption that will most likely catch most of that stuff from falling to the ground. Once all the popcorn ceiling is removed and the ceiling is primed with that special primer that we have, I'm going to peel down only the first layer and leave the second layer on there, and that's then going to be used for texture and paint. But I'll show you later what the next step looks like. All right, take care. All right, guys, last installment for today. The floor is covered with 2 layers of 6 mil. Each layer goes up a foot, and the walls are covered with 2 layers of 0.5 mil painter's plastic. The first layer was taped onto the wall at the very top with duct tape, so they're very strong bond to the wall. And then the second layer taped on with regular masking tape. A reason why is after scraping and cleanup, I want to be able to peel the first layer off. Same with the floor, and leave the initial layer that's closest to the wall and to the floor on here to have a protected surface for, you know, mudding, texture, paint. You know, it's all spray painting, of course. So that's why 2 layers. And I wanted as little connection between those 2 layers as possible, so that we can kind of peel it down, roll it up on the ground, and put it in a asbestos disposal plastic bag. Yeah, now we're just cleaning this out. Tomorrow I'm going to set up all the tools that I need in here. The airless sprayer for the primer, my pump spray bottle for the wetting agent, and HEPA filter air scrubber, and duct that all in, and then I will dress up and get to work in here, and I will give you another little piece of that tomorrow. All right, have a good night. All right, YouTube, next day we're ready to start scraping here in a few minutes. The HEPA filter air scrubber, it's all ducted in. I just opened up the window, cut a piece of hardboard to the size, and then put a 12-inch duct adapter in there. You can get that at Home Depot. And this is flat duct. It's just polyplastic pretty much. This is 14-inch. We had to make it a little smaller, but it works. We already tried it. Of course, my trash can was too big for the asbestos trash bags, so we had to use a hamper, but it's okay. Spray bottle, pump sprayer. This here is the Fiber Lock Penne wetting agent. That stuff supposedly doesn't dry up as fast as water, and it kind of keeps a dust-free environment. So you spray the popcorn ceiling once, wait 5 minutes, spray it a second time, and then start scraping, and this stays kind of like jello-ish, so it keeps the fibers inside the material. And then over here, the second room, so I'm going to do the big one first and then move everything over. This is Fiberset PM post removal surface sealant. That needs to be applied with a airless sprayer. That one was already flushed, so I don't have any weird fluids in there anymore. This is a little care package. In there are more trash bags. I have this popcorn ceiling scraper that accepts 4-gallon trash bags, so it has a little frame around it. So whatever you scrape off is supposed to fall right into it. We'll see if that works. And a long handle on it. And Then I also have some rags in that blue plastic bag just to clean up any messes that I make. And then that's pretty much in here. Now I'm gonna close up this room, the entrance, close it up, tape it up, start the machine here. We'll see how high I will turn this. And then out here in our messy living room, I have my suits, protective suits. When I ordered them, JohnDon.com is the place where I bought most everything. They said these are specifically made for asbestos removal. Respirator that also needs to be rated. This is a 3M model. Here's the model number of the filters. They are asbestos fiber rated, and full goggles, so I'm not going to get any of that stuff in my eyes, not the chemicals nor the fibers. All right, I will not be able to really show you the removal process, but at least I can show you the prep and then what it's going to turn out to be afterwards. Once it's scraped, I will apply the primer sealant, and then that needs to dry for an hour, hour and a half. In that time I will be able to peel the first plastic layer down, clean it all up, get out of my suit and my respirator, and then from there, let's hope it's a clean environment and I can do prepping for texture and stuff. So last look and bye. Hey guys and girls, next day. Yesterday we accomplished quite a bit. We scraped all the popcorn ceiling out of this room, and as you can see, this is not a smooth sheet of drywall up there. This looks like back 44 years ago they put some sort of mudding onto the drywall. Yeah, I want to show you this real quick. Maybe you can leave a comment and explain to me why and how they did it back then. Here you can see this is the paper surface of the drywall, and then they added about 1/4 of an inch of some sort of mudding compound. So and this is not really a straight, I don't know, I mean I can see the trowel marks here everywhere. This is not smooth at all. And then over this they put the popcorn ceiling. So yeah, yesterday we wetted this down with a wetting agent by Fiberset, and it was just not coming off. I had to spray this 4 or 5 times to get it wet enough before this popcorn ceiling was kind of soaking through, and then I was able to scrape it off. Once that was accomplished, I had to do a lot of cleanup here on the ground, so all the popcorn ceiling just collected here on the ground. And then I used the Fiberset PM sealer. It's not really a primer, a sealer, to settle all the little fibers. Even did a misting, so in a circular pattern, sprayed just in the room. So it was like a fog in here, and that supposedly settles all the loose particles in the air. Made the whole floor and the wall covering all smeary, slimy in a way. And then once that was accomplished, I peeled the first layer of plastic down out of both rooms here, and rolled it up to about there. Like I said, I already had most of the popcorn ceiling crumble stuff in bags, bagged up, and so I just rolled it all up, moved my equipment around at the same time I did exterior cleaning of all the tools that I had in here with that wetting agent and rags, and bagged that up as well. And now this is pretty much the second layer of plastic. It's all clean, the walls are all clean. I still have my air scrubber in here. I'm still running around with a respirator just in case there's still some residual nastiness in here. But yeah, the air scrubber just sucks air through and catches all the fibers in a HEPA filter. This room here, apparently there was a remodel done at some point. This is just like we would expect it today. This is just drywall pieces, and you can see where they did some mudding over the drywall screw holes, and this here seems to be a seam, so that was mudded and taped. This popcorn ceiling here was probably not even containing any asbestos because it was completely different. So here you can see the popcorn ceiling texture was sprayed right onto the sheetrock drywall. This is the paper here, I damaged it, but the rest of the room, it just came off really easily. I only sprayed it once. It came down in sheets. So this was probably not even asbestos contaminated because it was done at a later time, probably, you know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, the last time it was remodeled. But this one here, that was a bear. That was quite a task to scrape this off. I don't know exactly how long. I think I spent 3 hours just scraping. Initially, I was using one of those popcorn ceiling scrapers that they sell at Home Depot that has a little frame around it and you hang a plastic bag on it. That scraper wasn't stable enough, strong enough. I would bend it because, you know, I had to push so hard. So then I ended up using a ladder and my trusted knife here. And it came off okay. It was a lot of work. And that all with respirator and full suit and all that. I was sweating like a pig yesterday. I know, pigs can't sweat, but anyways. Yeah, so it's all sealed up with this specific asbestos sealer. Now I'm just doing a little bit of some patching here. Wherever the deepest gouges are in the ceiling, I'm just filling up. And once I have accomplished this, I'm just going to try to put a light texture on it and call it a day. You know, future owners, if they don't like my texture job, they can redo it, but I am just so done with this. I just want to get it done. So texture on today, spray paint white tomorrow, and then I will peel the second layer of plastic off, get the last bit of whatever is dirty in this room out, and then we can move back into this room. So I'm pretty sure once I have the ceiling textured and painted, the remaining asbestos fibers that are still part of this surface here, they will be buried forever. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting, yeah, if you are an old timer drywaller and you know those techniques where they put a thick layer of mudding over the entire surface of drywall, if you know why and how, and please share. Would be really interesting. So yeah, the biggest chunk of work yesterday was done, and today is just fine touch up and texture. I know I probably should skim coat this entire ceiling and then sand it and, you know, all the other things, but I'm just going to try to put a relatively heavy what is it, orange peel texture on here and call it a day. Alright guys, next installment soon. Alright YouTube, here's this next piece. So this is the ceiling that we scraped the popcorn ceiling off. Then after popcorn ceiling scraping, we primed it or sealed it with Fiberset post-removal primer. Then I went around, I mentioned earlier that this is not just drywall with taping and mudding. This is drywall with some sort of plaster on it. And I have no idea what it is. It wasn't really even, straight, or pretty at all. I went around and did a little bit of touch up. So the deepest grooves and dents and dips I filled and did a little bit of skim coating. As you can see, I don't know if it's coming out in this video. Let's turn some light on. I don't know if you can tell, but it's still uneven as can be. But you know, every project has to come to an end. This is one bedroom. You know, maybe one day we're gonna hire someone and have it re-textured. But so I did a little bit of skim coating, and now I'm texturing here with my Marshallton Sharpshooter 2.1. Specifically made so you have a angled piece in there so you can shoot up to the ceiling a little better. Wow, there's a lot of dust in the air. Anyways, wow, that's pretty interesting. I'm working on this still. If I see a couple sections where it's not quite as textured as others, I just touch up a little bit. But this is as good as it will get. And the last step will be tomorrow spraying it white sealing paint. I have a Graco Magnum X5 LS sprayer that should do the trick. Yeah, two coats of white I think should do it. And then we're gonna call this a day. And then we're gonna peel the last plastic off, clean it all out, and put the furniture back in. How about that? All right, guys. I don't know if this is gonna be the last piece that I'm gonna be adding to this video of asbestos popcorn ceiling removal. At least we're already asbestos free in here. After this spraying here for sure. Also coats the whole plastic with a fine layer of texture material. So I better put my respirator back on. Take care, bye.